All right, today's gospel reading is from Matthew chapter 24, verses 3 through 35, and I'll be doing a reading out of the Orthodox Study Bible. Now, as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be? And what will the sign of your coming? What will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age?" And Jesus answered and said unto them, "Take heed that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but that the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are beginnings of sorrow. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will be offended and will betray one another, and will hate one another. Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many. And because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations. And then the end will come. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, whoever reads, let him understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let him who is on the housetop not go down, not to take anything out of his house. And let him who is in the field not go back to get his clothes. But woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing babies in those days. And pray that your flight may not be and pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Sabbath, for then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. Then, if anyone says to you, Look, here is the Christ, or there, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. Therefore, if they say to you, Look, he is in the desert, do not go out, or Look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. For wherever the carcass is, there the eagles will be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn. And they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. Now learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So you also, when you see all these things, know that it is near at the doors. Assuredly, I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away. Some explanation here. In verse for this explanation for 33 through 31, the scriptures describe the end times in a variety of ways, so that no precise chronology can be determined. The Lord's emphasis is on watchfulness and the practice of virtue rather than on constructing timetables of things that have not yet happened. In Matthew's account here, the end is described as encompassing the initial sorrows, the great tribulation, and the coming of the Son of Man. The period of the Great Tribulation includes the entire Christian era and is not limited to the final years before Christ's return. Explanation on verses 4 and 5. The warnings against deception are given the most emphasis. Of particular importance is the warning against following a false Christ, which Jesus stresses again in verses 11, 23, and 23 through 27. Verse 6, the wars here first refer and foremost to the Roman destruction of Jerusalem, but certainly include the subsequent wars. Wars are not a sign of the imminent end, but the opposite, that the end is not yet. Verse 14, all these calamities and all this opposition cannot stop the spread of the gospel. And indeed, persecutions against the church often increase the number of souls being converted. St. John Chrysostom marvels that while the Romans subdued countless Jews in a political uprising, they could not prevail over 12 Jews unarmed with anything except the gospel of Christ. Verse 15, Daniel's prophecy of the abomination of desolation was fulfilled in AD 70, when the Roman general Titus entered the most holy place and had a statue of himself erected in the temple before having the temple destroyed. The Lord's phrase, when you see, indicates that many of the disciples would still be alive at that time. The words, whoever reads, let him understand, are commonly understood to be inserted by Matthew into Christ's address as an encouragement to his early Christian flock who may have witnessed this event. And verse 20, the severity of winter weather or respect for the Sabbath would prevent many faithful from fleeing quickly in a time of desperation. A spiritual interpretation given by the fathers sees the Sabbath as symbolizing idleness with regard to virtue, and winter as indicating fruitlessness with regard to charity. Thus, the person who departs this life in such a spiritual state will suffer judgment. Verse 27, in what manner will Christ come back? The event will be unmistakable to the whole world. If there is any question or doubt, that alone is evidence that he has not returned. As Christ's return will shine from the east, so Orthodox Christians, wherever possible, worship facing eastward in symbolic hope and in anticipation of his second and glorious coming. Verse 29, according to the fathers, the sun will not be destroyed, but darkened in relation to the glory of Christ. In other words, the sun will appear to be dark by comparison when Christ returns to the fullness of his splendor. Verse 30, the sign of the Son of Man is the cross, which will be revealed as the standard for Christ's impending judgment. While at his first coming, Christ came in humility and mortality, his second coming will be revealed in power and great glory. 34. This generation refers to all believers at all times, the generation of the church, and not merely those alive at the time of Christ. Amen.